Yep, stack.
Triple threat.
Expected value. Now take what you learn, go out there, and get stacked.
Hey guys, this is Charlie Carrel. I'm doing my first video for grips.com, and the first video I'm going to do is the Sunday Rebuy, which I played a couple of weeks ago and took down for almost 45k, 46k, something like that. Just a quick bio of what I've been doing in grips. I started playing poker about 14 or 15 months ago and found grips quite early in that, say a month or two in, and started moving up the cash stakes. Started at 10 NL, moved up to 1000 NL, and then using a lot of help from grips, started playing tournaments, especially using the his guide to multi-table tournaments. That was really helpful, and ended up chopping the Sunday million for 201k. And yeah, I've been playing on stars for about 500 now, and high stakes to mid stakes tournaments as well for the last 4 months. And this is my first big win, proper big win, since the million. So anyway, starting off, we rebuy straight away, as in these kind of tournaments. I think that, especially for cash players, people that think they will have a post-flop edge, you want to be playing as deep as possible. It does sometimes depend on what kind of table you have. I remember that the table I had specifically had a couple of fish on that had also rebought. I can't remember which ones are which. But it does mean that I will be able to play deep stack pots in position. And before we start as well, I will mention that because it is a rebuy, we want to be getting in a lot lighter, so we will be playing high variance style, meaning that, say, for instance, if we want to get it in with a flush draw normally, it may be a bad idea in the tournament to do so, but here it may be a good idea because we get to rebuy afterwards, and if we do win, we get to build a big stack for the later stages. So anyway, starting off, I feel that nothing happens here, but I will skip through the hand just to see if I play it. Oh, I do play it. So 9 deuce suited. I open quite lightly in early stages, just because I feel that I have a post-flop edge. I assume that I must have thought I had a post-flop edge on bullion, just as I open so light on these big blinds. So I expect I see bet here. Yeah, so I see bet just over half, and that's fine. He calls, and after he calls one, we could have the best hand. He could be floating with things like king jack, king queen, and queen jack. But apart from that, the whole of the rest of his range, which is 10x, ace-x, and spades, now beat us. So we're just going to check folding that, which is fine. Ace-8, I assume I would have opened. Yeah, but someone else got there first. 10-6. Equal ace. I probably wouldn't have opened from there, but it'd be close, depending on who's in the blinds. Oh, they know, dissect no. Oh, I want to hide their whole cards. That's not good. How do I do that? 1 second. Right, yeah, sorry about that. This is the first time I've used any of these tools, so bear with me if anything goes a bit wrong. Just enter that a bit more. Anyway, so we're definitely opening king queen. It is actually technically a loose open. It's just that, again, with the post-flop edge, I want to be utilising that, and we get called here. I think we've already seen his cards, but just if we hadn't, his range would probably be stuff like all pairs because we're kind of deep. So he'd be flying with every single pair there, apart from ace and kings, which I assume it's 3-bet most of the time. Then he has suited connectors, so jack 10 suited, 8-9 suited, and also things like ace king, like we saw, king jack suited, and yeah, suited broadways. So on this kind of flop, it's fine to c-bet. We have backdoor straight, which is quite a big thing to think about when we're c-betting into this kind of board, because a lot of the hands that he's going to call once with will fold the turn. So for instance, if he calls once with say pocket sevens, and we will be able to get him off that with 2 barrels. So the backdoor straight, the king, queen, jack, means that we are going to be able to double barrel quite a lot on the turn with a lot of equity. So if it comes a 9, a 10, a queen, a king, or an ace, we can double barrel and fold him off a lot of the stuff that he's calling with. On the jack turn, it's not a good turn. All his pairs are going to think they look a bit stronger, and everything else is going to. When he checks back, he still has, yeah, he has ace king and all the pairs pretty much that don't want to bet for protection. So I'd say eight through deuce, ace through fours, and yeah, we're just gonna check it down and lose that, which is fine. I assume we would defend this. Oh, we get a walk. Yeah, love it. Not opening that once, not playing that once on us opened, definitely playing queens. So yeah, we get, I think I just remember what happens actually. We get this guy opening off 50 bigs, just under, and with queens, sometimes I flat here, quite often I 3-bet. The reason I'm more leaning towards 3-betting and getting it in is because it is a rebuy, and people will be getting it in with ace king on these stakes because, one, I feel that the people I have played against know that I have quite a loose aggressive image, and two, they know it's a rebuy, so they're also going to be getting it in a bit lighter. And we get cold 4-bet from a player here who is deeper than that guy. Nasty Minder, who I have played with a couple of times, a bit of history. When he calls 4-bets, his range is quite often going to be, it depends. If he has a HUD, he'll probably do that with jacks to get it in at this point. So with jacks, queens, kings, aces, and ace king. Bear in mind that I think we do okay against that range, just thinking about combinations, and I feel that, I hope I get it in here, and just accept that we may have to rebuy at some point. So yeah, I 4-bet more with the intention of, the other option is just flatting, and I don't really like doing that because we have to stack off on low boards anyway, and we just lose value against, say, things like jacks, and if it comes in ace high boards. And also, if he does have something like ace-4 suited and it comes a king-high board or an ace-high board, then we're basically burning equity. So yeah, I like that I get it in here. I feel I remember that is a board that we do not like. So yeah, we rebuy, double rebuy. It's the next hand. I remember at that point I was actually very close to not rebuying because I was playing so many other tournaments. I'm kind of happy that I didn't. Here I opened to 2.2x, not really sure why. Usually I'd open to 2.5x, but oh well. I feel that at the beginning of NTTs it doesn't really matter how much you regulate your opening sizing. And oh yeah, I remember. It's because 6 is the hands that if you do get 3-bet, but if I got 3-bet by a Nasty Minder or the 2 people in the blinds, I would want to call the 3-bet because I'd have implied odds. And if I raise smaller, then I'll have a better stack to pot ratio. So that means that there'll be less in the pot for when I call, meaning that I have better odds to try and stack him after the flop if I hit a set. So that's why I raise a bit smaller at the beginning, just because people won't really be paying that much attention to my raise sizing at the beginning levels. But as it gets later on in the tournament, you can't really get away with raising smaller and then bigger than smaller because people will start noticing and changing their play based on it. So we get 3-bet and a cold call, which means we have a perfect spot to just call and try and flop a set, basically set pedaling. But once it checks through, I feel like, yeah, we're not going to put too much in, just because this guy has quite a strong range of stuff like jacks and 10s. This guy 3-bet pre, so I assume he had ace king or something. Once he check folds. Probably not playing that. Definitely playing kings. Assume this goes raise and take it. Yeah. Okay, and we would be playing this if it. No, get a walk. Lots of respect. Yeah, I feel that a lot of the people that I'll be playing at the moment will know that I have quite a loose aggressive image, and it doesn't matter too much. It just means that we'll be having people will be having fewer bluffs against us when they 3-bet us, and probably more value hands, just because I know that my 4-bet stat is quite high. So yeah, with the king queen hands, when it goes c-bet call, there is definitely an option here to raise, as we have the nut flush draw. But I feel that in this spot, even though it is a rebuy, it's better to call, because either Ali, Turco or Nasty Minder could have heart draws, and I do not want at any point to get anything like 7-8 of hearts, 9-10 of hearts out of this, especially when Ali calls. And there is a decent chance that, say, if I raise here and then Turco man shoves, that Ali will be able to fold a smaller heart draw. So yeah, I think the most important thing in this spot is just making sure that every single person that can have lower hearts stays in. And also, when on an ace-high board, it's kind of difficult to bluff raise here because you're not really repping much. You would only be repping 4s and 5s, and I feel that stuff like ace-king would just get it in. So your fold equity is minimal raising here. And so we get 3 calls. It's still a nice spot. And yeah. We don't really like it, but again, we have to call for the same reason with the hearts. We're just stacking hearts if we hit, and we do. And I feel that this is just going to go check, check, shove, fold, fold. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, we can't really stop ourselves from repping anything. We could, I guess, bet smaller on the river, but we're playing against good players here, and people are definitely capable of making hero calls, especially against me. I could have something like 6-7. Could have no, that's basically my own bluff, but so I mean, actually, I don't mind betting smaller there. Actually, in hindsight, maybe about 1k, but equally, shoving does make sure stuff like aces and ace king probably still hero call. Well, occasionally anyway. Against me, I'd like to think they would. So yeah, king 5 suited. I feel that it's fine to open these kind of hands, especially in the early stages. I like. The rule is I usually open suited kings from the cutoff, and if there are weak players, I open suited queens, and then I open suited aces basically from anywhere, past the undergun and undergun +1 stage, just because of the implied odds, especially when playing deep. So it's kind of a nice flop. When Nasty Minder calls here, he's got a wider range than usual. He and I have got some history, and he's going to be calling with all suit connectors and Broadway hands and loads of stuff, but I feel that he wouldn't 3-bet most of his range. So I check here. It's a board that I would quite often be check folding, and I would also be c-betting with stuff like Queen Jack and 10 Jack and 8-6 and stuff like that. But I would also like to have a check call range, and I don't. This kind of by having a check call range, I mean hands that I would like to check and not fold. So this is one of the hands that I would choose to do that with, because I can check call all 3 streets. So I could check call the turn, check call the flop, check call the turn, check call the river, and that means that he can't then in other hands, when I'm say check calling 9-8, he can't just barrel me off with air. He can't just try and bluff me off my hand, because sometimes I'll be check calling 3 streets with a king. So I decided to do that, go ahead with my plan. It checks through, and we're just betting the river for value now, and hopefully get paid off by something like 10s. Yeah, ace jack. So yeah, I think that goes to a part of the way to show my image that he thinks that I might be check calling with something like 10 jack there. I don't really like his call at all, but who cares really? Not playing that. Oh, definitely playing that. Oh, someone else playing. With ace jack there, I usually fold. Especially, I think this guy's been playing quite tight, just from what I've seen now. And yeah, we could elect to 3-bet, but it's early on in the tournament. I don't think there's too much need for unprecedented aggression. Ace king suited. Love to play it. I flat the ace king suited here. It's generally against early position or mid positions. I flat ace king, and ace king suited is better because I remember learning from Evan actually. He always said that it's better to call suited hands out of position because you get to play more flops aggressively. So because we could have club draws, we get to check raise a lot of flops, which means that we won't be check folding anywhere near as much. I like having ace king as a calling hand from the blinds anyway, just because say if it comes like this and we check call this flop and then the turn's an ace, it means that people are going to be barreling at that ace so often, and we have the implied odds of when they do barrel at the ace that we're going to be calling them down, and basically it's implied odds of them bluffing basically. But on this board, yeah, he bets near pot, which makes me slightly inclined to believe he's not that strong a player, as that's not real tournament sizing. It's not real anything sizing really, but you know, he might not be. But yeah, we're just check folding that even with the backdoor clubs. Ace 10 here. I think it's fine to call. This guy's going to be opening all suited aces, so we dominate him, I think, more than he dominates us. Just about. It's probably close actually, but again with post flop, post-flop edge, I think it's fine to just try and get in as many pots as possible. And we're folding. Might as well watch it play out. Oh, stuff goes on. Okay then. Well, Tiger Man was being a bit ambitious, I guess. Oh, it's not, I don't hate either of the plays. Actually, I'm gonna watch through that and try and analyse that as it goes. So he's got ace-8 suited. He's got, if I show 9 whole cards, he's got jack-10 suited. So it's standard c-bet. I don't really like using the word standard, but it is. That's a fine call, I guess. When he barrels this big, I feel that kind of takes away a lot of his premium hands. If he had a set or aces or even ace queen, maybe I think it'd just go a bit smaller. As much as he would want to be protecting his hands, he just doesn't need to go that big to get all in by the river. So I think that's a bad sizing. And then this guy shoves. I don't like that at all. I feel that if neck break had gone smaller, then the shove would be kind of fun. It'd be kind of okay, just because he would still be bluffing sometimes with like ace king or something. But no, I'm not a fan of Turco Man's play. I guess neck break played okay. Anyway, I'll take 9 whole cards off. I don't know how long this video is meant to be. I guess I'll just do the whole thing and then cut it up into sections. That sounds okay. Not sure if we were going to open that on the button. Yeah, I sometimes open 100% of these points, and sometimes don't. At this point, Viscus limps on the button, and Turco Man shoves, and we are ahead of a 2 big blind shoving range, so I isolate there. And we get a call, which is kind of annoying. So I imagine that Viscus here is a bad player, and in these kind of spots it's kind of a leveling spot, because people expect you to not put much money in when there's a dry side pot, which is half of this is dry side pot, or something just under half I think, and but then it's a leveling spot because they think that you think that, so you might bluff at it more, and it just, yeah, it turns into a massive level. So I bet, and he folds, and I think we pick it up. Yeah. So yeah, as we see, we were ahead of Turco Man's 2 big blind shoving range, and yeah, I think that went kind of well. Definitely not playing 6-7, Queen 7, 8 deuce, 9s. Yeah. Yeah, going for the 2.5x now. It's really all over the place, and that's not going to end well for anyone. So yeah, we notice here that TX.YZ has been 3-bet us whilst we opened quite early, and then folded to a shove, which probably means he's 3-bet us reasonably light, which is due to the fact that we've been opening a lot of pots. So I think it's quite important at this point to know, well, first to have in mind who will have a HUD. So you look around at the good players and realise they'll have a heads-up display, and then to think how they will perceive your play. And at the moment I'm very confident in saying that they'll perceive me as a loose aggressive player, and hopefully as a quite a good player. So yeah, I will begin at these stages. I think I'll be getting 3-bet light a bit more, just because they haven't seen me 4-bet much if they haven't played me before. So yeah, they'll be playing back a bit more, as shown by this. Ace-7 not opening, 9-7. Here I think I'd like to see myself defend. Turco Man I've seen is, I think, a good player, not a great player. Although I might be wrong in any of my assumptions. But actually, thinking back to the 10 jack hand, maybe he was just doing it because it's Rebuy. Maybe he's a baller. Who knows? But yeah, I'd like to see myself defend this. I still think I have a decent enough post-flop edge. So yeah, we're check calling on with second pair. We're ahead a lot of the time here, but there's no point in raising, just because when we are ahead, I think he just won't barrel off too much. On the 9, you could go either way. I think I would prefer check here, but I wouldn't be too surprised if I saw past me lead here. So bet zone, but I think I prefer a check, just because it's a card that he's going to be double barreling a lot. Hands like Queen Jack, 10 Jack, lots of things that I for some reason can't think of. Spades and clubs as well, and I'm sure there must be other hands. Oh yeah, anything with say like ace-6 and ace-8 as well might be double barreling here, just because they picked up a gut shot and think they might be able to fold me off a 7 or a 5. So I feel that a lot, like so much of his range will be betting here, but it does not. And when he checks back, I imagine he hasn't got too much, because I imagine most of his kings would be protecting. He could have a 9 that he'd picked up, so something like 8-9 that we might be able to get value from. I would like to see myself bet quite big here, because lots of things missed, so lots of draws missed, like clubs, and I could have things like, I don't know, 4-6 and just random floats like ace high that I decided to turn into a bluff by the river. And so I think just because a lot of things miss, I can bet reasonably big. Yeah, and I do, and he folds, which is pretty good. I imagine I would play this, but that guy opens, so nope. I'm not sure if I play this. Yeah, apparently I opened 3-2 suited. And on that board, we have absolutely no equity. It hits its range like reasonably hard. I feel that we're going to be giving up reasonably often, and we'll take our deuce to showdown now. Yeah, go on. Yeah, when he checks down, I feel that, especially on the river, he's either going to have a 9 or an ace high, because I think all of those things check down. Whereas I think a lot of hands with no equity would bet at some point, just because it looks like I don't have too much, and he might be able to fold me off something like ace high. But so yeah, that's fine. Not opening that, I hope. Yeah. Not opening that, I hope. Yeah. Half me loves it. Let's watch this hand one up. This is versus 8s. So yeah, we see my cat getting in really light here. Pretty good stuff. 10-7, I'd like to see myself open, but someone else has opened beforehand, so we'll leave that one. Jack 4 probably wouldn't open. King 4, 10s definitely. We get 3-bet here. It's the same guy that 3-bet us light earlier, so I wouldn't be surprised to see myself. It looks like a call, but I wouldn't have been surprised to see myself shove here. Problem is, in tournaments, I found that people are really tight from the blinds when it comes to 3-betting. I don't know if it's just from what I've seen. I might be wrong, but I know in cash games people 3-bet most liberally from the small blind, but in tournaments it seems to not be the case. And yeah, when you beat c-bet 650, I feel that shoving 10s here is going to be the play. I mean, lots of people will level themselves in this spot to call with ace king if they think I'm just shoving something like 10 jack. And against those kind of hands, we want to protect our hands, as I don't think they'll be bluffing too much. And the thing is that we're probably getting stacked by jacks through aces most of the time anyway, so I feel that we may as well just accept that and on pretty much all runouts, and just maximize value against the stuff that we actually beat. So he calls, and I assume, yeah, no, we lose that one, so that's fine. There is an argument for folding at some point in the hand, but after what we've seen of him 3-bet folding against us, I don't think we can. But equally, some people I'm sure would say that you can. And once we get 3-bet here, I think Natural Barbaro. See a Team Pro? That sounds familiar. I don't think he's playing that loose. I imagine that's going to be quite a strong 3-bet. Again, bearing in mind that we have got a rather loose image, but I don't think they've seen us show down too many weak hands. Especially Natural. I don't remember seeing them on the table, but I might be wrong there. Not defending King 7 against a Team Pro. Really might be wrong about him being a Team Pro. Might have just seen his name. So yeah, Nacho, he opened a couple of hands, and I feel that this is fine to 3-bet, and yeah, we get 4-bet, we fold. Things like suited connectors, suited 1-gappers, suited 2-gappers, and sorry about that. Got to love London. Things like suited 2-gappers, they're good to 3-bet in position. It's pretty difficult to be awful 3-betting a suited hand on the button, and if somebody is opening quite loosely, then then I think that's always going to be fine. You hit a lot of flops that you can deceptively hit, and you can rep ace sideboards and stuff like that. So, you know, three betting in position is never going to be bad. Well, it can be, but it's rarely bad. A6, yeah, see a play, and somebody playing back against us. So now we should be bearing in mind now that we've been 3-bet folding, we've been raise folding, and quite a lot. So people are going to have that on HUD. So I'd like to see myself tighten up a bit here, just in general. Even though it's still quite early in the stages of the tournament, I just feel that the regs here, they're going to have on their HUD, if they haven't played me before, that I have a high fold to 3-bet. It's not that I do actually have a high fold to 3-bet, it's just that they would have seen me play those hands, and their HUD would say that I would. So it makes them more likely to 3-bet me. So yeah, not playing that one. As you can see, the Sunday Rebuy is quite an aggressive table in comparison to most tournaments that you play. I think it's meant to be one of the toughest fields apparently. But there are definitely weak spots, and the thing about Sundays is that people are going to be playing so many tournaments, and like I think I was playing about 12 tournaments at this point, and they're not going to be paying that much attention to table dynamics. They're just going to be looking at the HUDs. So you have to be very conscious of what your HUD is going to be at that table, and if you can set up your HUD so it says what it's been at that table, that'd be really good. And then also you have to be conscious of how many, say for instance against this guy Lorianek, whatever it is, if he hasn't been at the table for that long, I'm not sure if he has, he might have been actually, then he wouldn't have the same HUD stats as somebody that had been at the table, like Turco Man, for the whole thing. Equally, he may have been at the table for the whole thing. So we get queens in the big blinds, looking okay. Definitely just 3-bet getting in at this point. Obviously, it's a pretty bad flop for our hand, 2 overs. On this kind of boards, depends what kind of player I'm playing against. I would probably elect to c-bet this. But there are merits to c-betting and checking as well. Checking, I know I would be checking hands like ace-jack sometimes and king-queen. So I don't think they can bluff us off with like no equity hands. And betting, it just makes sure that he doesn't. So if we think he's the kind of opponent to bet when check to with something like 6-7 of clubs, maybe, then it's probably better to bet ourselves and just make sure we're not check folding anything. So I assume that by this I come to the conclusion that nice. I come to the conclusion that he's not somebody that would just bet when checked to blindly. I end up betting 160. I feel that I did this bet because quite often people would play aces like this and ace kings sometimes, but I feel that it does kind of make sure that he knows. I feel it makes it look like we don't have queens and jacks basically, and by doing that we can just take it down straight away, and say if he has pocket fours or something, we'd stop him from hitting his 2-outer. And there's not much people can do again. You can't really bluff raise against that, just because some people do that with aces. So I like that actually. I didn't think of that at the moment, but I'm glad past me did that. So yeah, as you can see, another raise 3-bet from button. It's gonna be happening quite often, and they're getting with 7s and jacks. So yeah, as the dynamics keep going, people are getting in lighter and lighter. See if Oro, no, he doesn't rebuy, or if he does, he went to a different table. Not opening that. I imagine I would open that if unopened before, but against an undergun raise, there's no need. Ace 10, no, okay, playing a bit tighter. So yeah, this is, I'm glad I folded that just because I've been raise folding a bit. So I'm tightening up a bit. As antes now start kicking in, you're meant to start loosening up, but I don't think it's that much at the moment whilst the antes are really small. So I'm just going to still be adjusting due to table dynamics instead of antes. Probably playing 7s. Yeah, we get flat. It's a really good board for us. We're just going to see that on this kind of board I like it because any of his ace highs, like ace 8, ace 9, whatever, they're going to be calling one because they have 2 overs and a gut shot, and we're getting quite a lot of value from that. When the 4 pairs, yeah, I like checking here as well. It is pot controlling. See if he has something like 4-5, we just check calling twice. I think maybe check call, check fold river, and it looks like a card that we wouldn't bluff at, so it's difficult to bet for value quite thinly. Thin meaning with a weaker hand than you usually would bet for value. So we check, he bets, we call, oh, we raise. What? Okay, I know what my thought process would have been at this point, and yeah, I still kind of like it. I think I prefer a check call here, but bearing in mind that Nasty Minder still has all of his ace-x hands in his range, so things like ace-10, ace-9, like I said, by doing this, I think we are protecting our hand quite a bit, and because he's going to have a gut shot plus 2 overs, which our hand is quite vulnerable, I feel that that's going to go quite well. And on the river, I assume we're checking, and okay, when he bets this river, his range is really quite small. He can have deuces 3s, 4-5, ace 4, king 4, and due to my previous analysis, I think that hands like ace 10 and ace 9, they would be betting the river for value. Sorry, they would be bluffing this river quite often, just because it looks like I have a hand that could be bluffed off when I check call the flop. When I check call the what did I do? When I check raise the turn. No, when I bet call the turn. That's on bet call. And I feel that a lot of the time he's going to be bluffing here. So yeah, I feel like past me had a plan for this hand, and which present me did not know about. So yeah, I forgot to mention those. Yeah, he also has quite a few floats in his range which he's going to be bluffing quite often. So yeah, past me did quite well. I wish I'd had the same thought process, but you know, oh well. Here with Nacho Barbaro, I've already 3-bet fought against him with a similar kind of hands, and this hand does play quite well. He and I are kind of deep as well. I think we start about 45.5 deep. So yeah, I'm fine to play a hand like Jack 9. When he checks on the ace high boards, checking's fine, betting's fine. I think he's going to be check folding a lot against. If he perceives me to be a good player, I think he's going to be check folding a lot, because it's the kind of board that I float with quite often. If I had something like 9 with like Jack 10 of clubs, King Queen of diamonds, anything suited connectory. But as we have showdown value, I think checking is fine. When he bets here, I expect him to have a few ace-x, obviously pocket queens is a possibility, but very unlikely, and stuff like king jack and jack 10, things like that. And I think the good thing about calling here is that the hands that are bluffing, like king jack and jack 10, won't bluff the river, because I can still have ace-x that I've checked back for pot control, like ace 10 suited, and his hands that are doing for value will bet quite often. So I think, yeah, once he checks, obviously we can't bet for value, but if we just think about his range, I think a lot of it's just going to be bluffs. So yeah, it's jack 10. We beat the pro. Not playing that apparently. I haven't got my HUD open at the moment because it will be different to what it was then. So if I do make any plays like 3-betting light, it will probably be due to HUD stats instead of I don't know, just a feeling or anything. So yeah, I'll briefly speak about that. Raise ace 10, we're standard, we're going for the min raise now, and we can bet really small for this. I think something that some players don't do is just betting really small on these kind of boards. People can't do much against it unless they want to float, and I have a stronger range than all of those guys because, well, assuming that people don't have a 6 very often, I can have overpairs, and they can have slight overpairs like 7s and 8s and 9s, but the rest of them, they were 3-bet. So yeah, we could be barreling off on that board sometimes, depending on the player and the situation. Assuming I'm not opening that. Seems to be a dry spell of cards here. See if I would open this on the button. No. Oh yeah, I feel that with King Deuce here, it's fine to fold on the button, especially as I've been playing quite loose, and these guys are probably going to be good players. I think I recognise both their names. So let's watch them bail out. Okay. I don't think I can open that loose, just because I'm going to get played back a lot, and especially since they're on the stack where they can, or pretty much shove with 25 bigs, 30 bigs. Not quite shove, but you know, 3-bet and I can't do anything about it. I can't 4-bet. I'm not sure how the microphone is going to work for this. I'm kind of leaning forward and hoping that my laptop does something about it. Here, when Wex69 shoves, we're ahead of his range with ace-10, but there are so many people that can re-isolate behind us. So if we call here, then Grizzly Power, Natural Barbaro, Oracle, they can all shove, and we're just not in a good spot. We have to fold. It's fine. So yeah, even though we're ahead of the shover's range, it does not mean that we have to call off. As much as I said I'd like to be tightening up, I guess I don't. And Natural Barbaro 3-bets us, and we fold again. So I'm not sure how aware of this I was at the time, but we definitely have a high fold to 3-bet at the moment. So yeah, they get in quite light. Well, not that light. King 8 not playing. 7s on 20 bigs here. I think I'd like to see myself shove. I know Oopsie Daisy should be opening quite light. I'm not sure how light he or she is opening. But yeah, I feel that shoving 7s is quite a difficult hand to play, especially on these stack sizes, just because you can't really stack off when there are overcards because you'll only be getting in against worse. So I think it's better just to shove and hope for a fold or a flip. That worked. Yeah, not going to do anything when a shortish stack raises from early position with King 10. No need. So yeah, we've got a bit of junk coming up. Not opening that. Ooh. And Jack's in the big blind. I like getting hands in the big blind. No one ever gives you credit. Especially in this spot. I feel this is a extremely good spot. Okay, how deep are we now? We're 52, 53 big blinds deep. More than that, though. We're 50 something big blinds deep, and in this spot with Jacks, it looks like a spot where we're going to be ignoring that. It looks like a spot where we're going to be light quite a lot. So because we're going to be bluffing here quite often, we should also have a large value range, which means that hands that we sometimes wouldn't get 50 big blinds in, like Jacks and 10s, and sometimes Ace Queen suited, we have to start thinking of getting in pre-flop for value, because otherwise we'll just be bluffing too often in comparison to how much we're valuing. So I squeeze quite big, I think, but we're kind of deep, so that's fine. Get 2 calls. I'd like to see myself c-bet here about 1.8, something like that. That's good. Yeah, it's a low board. People can't really do much about it, and we have the best hand pretty much all the time, because I feel that Turco Man would fold any pairs, 6s, 5s, deuces. Obviously this guy here has 6s, 5s and deuces in his range, but we were never folding on that flop unless they both shove. And then we may still also be in, but that'd be close. Queen 8, I'm not sure if I'd raise, but no need to find out. Yep, definitely raising a6 and folding to that much action behind us. So we see the Grizzly Power was 3-betting with King Queen, and start the hand. Hang on, this guy is on 20 bigs, and I'm not sure if I like his call here. He's not usually ahead. So this guy, he's never shoving worse. He can shove 10s, 9s, I guess, but I guess it's not awful. I'm not a big fan. But yeah, we see that Grizzly was 3-betting King Queen there, which just keep in mind because lots of players will be flatting the hand. So he's probably more likely to be doing something like that. I imagine this goes raise fold. Yeah. So yeah, there's still a lot of action in this kind of tournament, just because this is probably still in the rebuy stage where people are playing a lot more loose. Here it's a really good spot to just overcall. We could 3-bet, but I don't see much merit to it, as we can't really get 7s in for this many big blinds. 17 big blinds. Oh no, he's on 17 wrong. Less. But yeah, it's just a really good spot to set mine, and definitely not in with that. I imagine Crone's probably got a really good hand. Yeah. When he overcalls there, it looks like he was slow playing, and we apparently would have hit straight. But actually, I found out that the way that PokerStars run their tools, this is actually quite a useful thing to know, in my opinion, is that every single decision, every single slight difference that is made, the board would have run out differently, just to keep it completely random. So when we say we would have hit straight here, we actually it wouldn't have happened. It would have come completely different flop, turn and river. And I think that's just kind of good. It stops people from tilting when they hear, oh, I would have flopped quads, but you wouldn't, because PokerStars made it different. I feel that's something that really helps me not tilt in certain spots. See here, I don't open the 10-7. I imagine that's just because everyone ahead of me has high enough 3-bets that it's not going to be profitable. Jack deuce, I imagine this goes. Yeah. Here, I'm not even sure if I should be calling this. I genuinely don't know. I would like to ask Evan about this kind of spot, because the problem is we are getting insane odds, and I guess it's okay because we have the deuce and not many other people have deuce X in their range. So if it does come like, I don't know, deuce 3 or something, then we're the only people that are going to have set. With a hand, say like jacks, no, not jack 7, like jack 6 offsuit, I feel that it's quite difficult to say whether we should fold or not, because even if we do hit top pair, we might not be good, and if we do hit like top and bottom, we might not be good, and we might just have more reverse implied odds than normal. But equally, getting insane odds, and I like to peel a bit wider there, because I feel that there are a few things that I can do post-flop that a lot of people wouldn't be doing to take away the pot. This guy shoves for 2.5 bigs. He does that thing where he doesn't put all his chips in. I like doing that sometimes if I remember, but I rarely ever do. So we have a choice here to isolate or to call. I think I prefer calling. Actually, I'm not sure. Yeah, the problem is if we isolate, then we have to get it in if any of these guys shove. If we make it 2.5 and someone shoves, we're priced in because they can be shoving with ace king and ace queen. And at this stage, I don't really want to be getting in 9s. So we get re-isolated, and we re-isolate. Maybe that's too many re's. But yeah, I feel that once Ringelsdorf makes it 2.6, we actually... Oh, maybe I was trapping. Oh, fuck knows. Excuse language, but yeah, I feel that Ringelsdorf could be doing this with ace king, ace queen, ace jack as well, and against ace jack we have fold equity, and against, maybe it might be doing it with stuff like king queen, and all of that stuff has to fold. But it looks like we are getting it in, and 9s flop sets, so we're good. So as you can see, he had king 5, ace queen. We got it in very good against 2 people. And yeah, we have a pretty big stack now. This is the stage in the tournament where we can start abusing it. I imagine the rebuy would have ended around about now. So yeah, we can raise call. We get a defend from the big blind when we raise 3s. It's the kind of board you could see bet. I think I decided not to, because with a hand like 3s, we can check it down a lot with ace high. But if we see bet and he calls with something like 7-8 or 8-9 even, he will be betting the river at some point, or he'll be betting at some point. He won't just be floating just to check it down 8-9. And yeah, I feel that we're just going to be getting buffed off the best hand if we see bet quite often. And when this guy bets, I'm not sure what I do. I'm glad I call here actually. Alright, this is a spot where if he did have something like ace jack, he would probably check, because after I've checked back the flop, it looks like I can have something like ace king, ace queen, and if he had any kind of value hand that beat that, he would be checking. So I imagine that, because then he'd be checking, so hoping I would bet so he could check raise. So I imagine that at the moment I have the best hand quite a lot and he just has a draw, and I feel that people are really bad in this spot and they only bet their draws and not their main hands. I feel that even if he had ace deuce here, then he would still be checking, just to pot control. So yeah, the good thing about this as well is that it looks like I have an ace, so he's never going to be bluffing the river, and I can profitably check behind. And yeah, king queen. So I feel that's a spot where lots of people would just fold the turn. But yeah, if you just think about what your opponent would be doing it with, we realise that we actually have the best hand, I think, most of the time. I'm just going to pause and close the window because it's getting a bit loud.
Yeah, we get it it stacking. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking.
Stack it up, cash it in, damn I win again. Many friends come to play, cause I'm on the internet. Better yet, I flop the turn and take a chance upon the river. I'll bluff you with the 7-2 offsuit, whatever's clever, call you all in while your chip stacks falling. Better believe the dealer, cause the game just started. Don't know the rules, you bet it all and then you risk it. If you wanna learn it, you should go online and hit up Gripsit.
Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Ever since a young cat, want a pocket stack with cash in the fast stack, crammed in the clam clip. Gotta get the action, gotta get it stacking. Dollars on the noggin, want a lot of transactions. Started as a little retarded, now with the knowledge, playing cards, flopping. Bombarded cause it was harder than I thought. Then I got on Grips.com, asking and got what I needed to beat him and get it stacking. Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com, tell you how to get stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com, tell you how to get it stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com.